Hello and welcome back to Only Pay. We'll be discussing about the psychology of money. Be sure to watch all the way to the end. If you are new to the channel, then hit the subscribe button below for more life-changing content. The psychology of money. In the psychology of money, Morgan Housel shares 19 short stories explore the strange way people think about money. Financial success is a soft skill where how you behave is more important than what you know. Morgan Housel spent his college years working in the 20s, sold several companies, and also had a stupid relationship with money. He always bragged openly about his wealth and a luxurious hotel in LA. One frequent guest was a tech executive, genius who designed and patented a key component in Wi-Fi routers was often drunk. One day he broke a $500 lamp and he would have to replace it. He offered the hotel $5,000 instead. Years later, he went broke. Ronald James Reed was an American philanthropist, investor, janitor, and gas station attendant. When he died in 2014, aged 92, the humble rural janitor made international headlines. The public was baffled. Where did he get all of his money? There was no lottery and no inheritance. All he did was save and invest in a blue chip stocks. A genius who loses control of their emotions can be financial disaster. Ordinary folks with no financial education can be wealthy if they have a handful of behavioral skills that have nothing to do with the formal measures of intelligence. Never enough. Even rich people do crazy things. Rajat Gupta was born in Kolkata and orphaned as a teenager, but his mind 40s Gupta was a CEO of McKinsey, this world's most prestigious consult firm. By 2008, his wealth reached 100 million US dollars. He could have done anything he wanted in his life, but what he wanted wasn't just to be a center millionaire. Gupta wanted to be a billionaire so badly. So he found a lucrative side hustle in 2008. Goldman Sachs started at the worth of global financial crisis, and Warren Buffett wanted to invest $5 billion into the bank to help it to survive. As a Goldman board member, Gupta learned about this valuable information before the public. He immediately bought 175,000 shares of Goldman Sachs. After the Buffett deal was announced later, Gupta made a real quick million, but he ended up in prison for insider trading. Why the hell would someone with hundreds of millions of dollars be so desperate for more money and risk everything in the pursuit of money? A measurable percentage of people will at some point in your life earn a salary or have a sum of money sufficient to recover every reasonable thing they need and a lot of what they want. If you are one of them, remember these things. Number 1. The hardest financial skills is getting the goalpost to stop moving. If expectations rise with results, there is no logic in striving for more because you will feel the same after putting in the extra effort. It gets dangerous when the taste of having more increases ambitious faster than satisfactions. You would feel as if you are always falling behind, and the only way to catch up is to take greater and greater amount of risk. Number 2. Social comparison is a problem. Consider a rookie baseball player who earns $500,000 a year. He is by any definitions rich, but he plays on the same team as Mike Trout, who has a 12-year, $430 million US dollars contract. So, by comparison, the rookie is broke. Mike Trout, earning $36 million per year, is an insane amount of money. But to make it on the list of the top 10 highest paid hedge fund managers in 2018, you need to be earning at least 340 million US dollars, and the hedge fund manager making 340 million US dollars compare themselves to the top 5 on 770 million US dollars. The top ones look to Warren Buffett, whose wealth increased by 3.5 billion in 2018. And Buffett could look ahead to Jeff Bezos, whose net worth is for 24 billion in 2018. The point is, the ceiling of social comparison is so high virtually no one will ever hit it. it's a battle that can never be won, or that the only way to win is to not fight to begin with. It's important to accept that you might have enough even if it is less than those around you. Wealth is what you don't see. No one is impressed with your possessions as much as you are. Morgan used to work as a valet. It was his dream to have one of the luxury car like his own because he thought they send such a strong signal to others that you hold a certain status. The irony is that he never looked at the drivers. When you see someone driving a nice car, you rarely think, wow, the guy driving the car is cool. Instead, you might think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. There is a paradox here. People tend to want wealth to signal to others that they should be like or admire. But in reality, those other people often bypass admiring you, not because they don't think wealth is admirable, but because they use your wealth as a benchmark for their own desire to be linked and admired. The psychology of saving money. The value of wealth is relative to what you need. Say, you and I have the same net worth. You are a better investor and you earn 12% while I earn 8%. But I'm more efficient with money, so I need half as much as to be happy while your lifestyle compound as fast as your asset. I'm getting more benefits from my investment despite low returns. The same is true for incomes. Learning to be happy with the less money creates a gap between what you have and what you want. Similar to the gap you get a growing your paycheck but easier to more in your control. A high saving rate means having lower expenses than otherwise could, and having lower expenses means your saving go further than they would go spent on more. Time is your ally. In the early 90s, Siberian scientists studied in Earth's position and came with the theory of ice ages that we know as accurate. The gravitational pull of the sun and moon gently affected the Earth's motion and tilt towards the sun. During the part of cycle over 10,000 years, each of the Earth's hemisphere get a little more or little less solar radiation. When a summer never gets warm enough to melt the previous winter snow, the leftover ice makes it easier for the snow to accumulate the following winter. It increases the odds of snow sticking around the following summer, which attracts even more accumulation the following winter. Perpetual snow reflects more of sun's ray and exacerbate cooling. This example illustrates how big something can grow from a relatively small change in condition. You start with a thin layer of snow left over from a cool summer and no one would think anything of. Then, in the geological blink of an eye, the entire earth is covered in mile thick of ice. The big takeaway from the ice age is that you don't need to tremendously amount of money force to create tremendous results. If something compounds little growth serves as the fuel for future growth, a small starting base can lead to results so extraordinary they seem to defy logic. It can be so logic defy that you underestimate what growth can be lead. Conclusion of psychology of money. Many people say the first time they saw a compound interest table or hear about how you being saving for your 20s, it would change your life. It likely surprised you because the results are intuitively right. Linear thinking is so much more lucrative in initiative than exponential thinking. When compounding isn't initiative, we often ignore its potential and focus on solving problems through other means. Not because we are overthinking, but because we rarely stop to consider the compound potential. The practical takeaway is that of compounding is responsible for the majority of disappointing trades, bad strategies, and successful investing attempts. Good investing isn't necessarily about earning the highest returns because the highest returns tend to be one of hits that can't be repeated. It's about earning pretty good returns that you can stick with and which can be repeated for longest period of time. That's when compounding runs wild. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Be sure to turn on bell notifications so you don't miss any video just like this one. Please give us your thoughts in the comments below. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.